Hi guys, today we'll be discussing the profitability framework, and this is one of the most common framework on which most of the cases are based, be it a consulting interview, be it a undergraduate level BTA or analyst interview, be it a product management interview. So profitability related cases are something which you can expect in any interview, and if you are a management student, then it is always a best practice to start your case interview journey from this profitability framework, because this is something at a very broad level, and it can be used to uh, get more insight on all the aspects of business, be it operations, distribution, the financial aspect, or product management related aspect, where you kind of see how the profitability related to a tool has gone up or down by providing a feature not. So all those things get covered within this framework. Okay, and this starts at a very generic level only, and then you go one level deep, one level deep, one level deep, and then you'll see how the whole network is created, and how it actually is being used. And today I'll just give you an overview that how the questions basically look like, or uh, how the broad level framework look like. But only after you start solving cases related to this framework, then only you will get to know the depth of it. And if you solve enough cases, you will get to know that sometimes interviewer use this framework to begin the case, and then forays into a guesstimate, or forays into some other supply chain related. He starts checking your supply chain related knowledge, where he'll basically talk about inbound processing and outbound activities. So all these things will get covered. Okay, so let's just start by looking at what the problem looks like in a generic profitability case. Hmm. So the problem will basically look like something like this, in that there is a company X who is basically facing a profit, revenue, sales decline, and they have hired you to tell them more about what the real problem is, and then you also have to give your recommendation. Okay, so this is the general structure of any question being asked on profitability framework. So either you will get some indication about profit going down, revenue going down, sales going down, cost going up, something related to it. Okay, now looking at the statement I have just made here, do you think that something is lacking? You can take a minute, and then again, you can pause the video, think about it, and then again start the video. So if you ask me, I do not see much information here. I only see some indications here. Okay, so just looking at this statement which I have written here, I've got a lot of questions actually. Okay, so first of all, I don't know what this company does. Okay, okay, I know the name of the company, company X, but what does it do? Which industry, right? Which industry, where in industry? And when I say where in industry, so let's say uh, uh, if this company is working in a textile industry, so whether it is involved in manufacturing, procuring and manufacturing itself, or is it involved only in the merchandising part? So basically, what part of the value chain this company exists in? Okay, and this scrutiny comes one level deeper. Okay, so as of now, just ignore it. So first of all, what all question we need to ask is, let's just assume that okay, there is one company X, something has gone down, it is reported as a problem, and I have to check what the root cause of the problem is, and then I have to recommend something. Okay. So first and foremost, what question will I ask is what has gone down? Okay. And when I ask this question, my the basic structure which is going on in my mind is what is profit? If I think from first principles, okay, don't just bring in a big company in your mind. So whenever you are thinking from first principle, just take an example, a relevant example. When I say relevant example, any example which you have seen. So let us just consider a shopkeeper. Okay. So what is the profit for him? Whatever revenue he makes minus whatever is the cost. Correct. So if I just get the whole total revenue figure, and if I get the total cost figure, and if I just subtract the cost from the revenue, I should be getting the profit, right? Now I'll dig one level deeper. If I want to split the revenue, how can I split the revenue so that all the aspect is covered? So there is a term called MISI, mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive. So it basically means that whenever you move from one level, which is profit, to one level deeper, you have to ensure that all the variables which can affect this profit are covered here. Okay. So that is how you start analyzing. So here, let's say the profit has gone down. So my first question is, okay, what has gone down? Profit. Okay, profit has gone down. Now profit can go down by two things, because of two things: revenue going up, sorry, revenue coming down, cost remaining the same, or cost going up, revenue remaining the same, or when the all hell break loose, revenue is also going down, cost is also going up. So in all these three cases, the profitability will decrease, right? So uh, when you ask that what has gone down, and you mark it here in your mind, you do have some structure made now, that okay, profit, the interview has said that profit has gone down. Profit and profitability are two very different things. Okay. So this is where some people get confused. So please be clear on this, that what is profit and what is profitability. Okay. And if you want me to explain it, I'll explain it in some other video. It is a simple concept. You can Google it anyway. Okay. So profit has gone down, and now profit has gone down because of what? Revenue going down, or cost going up. So generally, if an interviewer has less time at hand, he will ask you to analyze at least any one of these, not both of these. Okay. But let's say interviewer has all the time in the world, and then he tells you that no, revenue has also gone down, cost has also gone up. Okay. Now I want you to stop here. This is one level of information you have got. Now quickly you have to come here and ask that okay, these have gone down, but by how much? Okay. So this question is $1 million question. You cannot skip this question. Okay. And so I'll just tell you, if a profit has gone down by 10% in last 1 month, it has a whole different level of impact if you compare it against profit going down by 10% in the last 2 years. Okay. So do you know, I mean, are you able to appreciate this fact that the whole impact which has got created? I'm sorry, I kind of mixed two things here. uh, yeah. So I also brought in the time concept here. So that is the third part actually. So when I say by how much, I basically refer to what is the quantum of increase or decrease which has happened. Okay. And what is the duration over which this effect has been seen. Okay, so uh, I'm very sorry, I got confused here. Not actually confused, but after you solve a lot of cases, no, uh, these things you don't write actually. So when somebody tells you that company X has gone, for company X the profit or revenue has decreased by this much, and this, so first question I always ask is what has gone down. Okay, profit has gone down. Now profit can go down by two ways: revenue going down, cost going up, or again revenue going down as well, also cost going up. And when this level of clarity is gained, then I basically ask by how much. Why is it a concern? So why is it a concern? Because it has gone down by, let's say, 10% or 15%. Okay, 10%, 15%, big deal. In how much time? So then sometimes I'm told, okay, within 3 months it has gone down by this, or within over 1 year it has down by this. So all these questions, you will get a clarity within 10 to 15 second max. Okay, and you need not write all of this on paper. So in the beginning you might be writing this all these in paper on paper, but later these things will just be in your mind, that what has gone down by how much, over what duration. Okay, so this will basically help you in scoping the problem. Okay, and it is always a good practice to, for whenever you listen a problem, first step should be to reiterate the problem in the front of the interviewer, because this problem is actually more exaggerated due to this whole virtual thing which is happening due to COVID. And sometimes it might happen that interviewer has asked you something, and then you, since you did not hear it correctly, you just assume something, and that is the uh, worst case scenario. That is something which you should not do at all. So even if you ask for clarity twice, it is okay, but just don't assume anything and go ahead. Okay, because if at later point if you realize that okay, you misunderstood something in the beginning and you did not clarify, first impression that goes to the interviewer is you just take assumptions. In case you are not clear, you just take your own assumptions and you move ahead. And do keep this in mind, that in a real life scenario you do not take any assumption when you are sitting in the front of client. You have to take his agreement on each and everything you say or do. Okay, and that is why there is a whole lot of emphasis on thinking out loud whenever you are solving a case. So whenever you are writing anything, you have to just think out loud. Keep saying it what you are doing, because most of the time you are doing this right thing, but just because you are not saying those things out loud, the interviewer does not know what is happening. So you basically jump from uh, step 1 to directly to step 10, and you directly tell the answer. Now there is no emphasis on the interviewer is not emphasizing on the answer being correct or wrong. Sorry, yeah, correct or wrong. Rather, he wants to see that how you broke this level 1 problem structurally into multiple layers. Okay, and how you were able to identify that what the real problem was, the root cause. Okay, so yeah, coming back, we need to first ask that what has gone down, what is the quantum, that is by how much has it gone down or gone up, in case the cost has gone up, and then what is the time duration where in which this effect has been observed. Okay, now after knowing this much, you will kind of know that what is your target or uh, goal of this case solving exercise. So here I already mentioned that your goal is basically to identify the problem, and once it is identified, then you have to proceed to recommendation. Okay, Yeah. So now, what this whole part which you have done till now is basically scoping. Now, once you scope the problem, still if I ask you, what do you know about the company? I for one do not know anything about the company yet. So if you see, whatever discussion happened till now only happened in terms of what has gone down, profitability going down by how much, in how much duration, what is the target is basically to find the problem. All these are generic things which are happening, and we have not still talked about what the company actually does. It can be a pharma client, it can be a, let's say, EPC client, it can be anything. Okay, so that information also we need at our disposal to begin with the case. Okay, so there is something called 5C approach, which is basically company, collaborator, customer, competitor, and context. Okay, so I for one have never used all these five. So basically I always start with company, competitors, and customer. These three, if I understand, then context and other things, I do find, I try to find along the way while solving the case. It just comes in. Okay, while conversing with the interviewer, every statement you make and every reply he gives is one more clue for you. Okay, so just focus on three. One is uh, company, customer, and competitor. Now, what information would you like about the company? Okay, so I for one would like to know that, first of all, which industry this company is in. This is most of the time basically mentioned in your problem statement only. So if it is already mentioned, then don't repeat it. Okay, the frameworks are not something which you need to just memorize and keep asking the question in the same manner. Rather, it is just a guiding principle or a guiding chart, or something like that, which you just have to keep in back of your mind, so that you are able to apply as and when required. Okay, you don't have to apply just because you know this framework. Okay, so knowing a framework just helps you and keep your thoughts structured. And let's say whenever you get lost in a big case, then at that time putting a framework in front of you and then keep asking questions based on that framework will help you to keep you the whole case solving approach to proceed in a structured manner. Okay, so yeah, so which industry, where in that industry, and when I say where in that industry, I mean in terms of value chain. Okay, don't fret too much about it. If you are a management student, you already know what a value chain is. And let's say if you do not know what a value chain is, we can dwell on this maybe while solving some case, some specific case. So it will be much easier to explain. Okay, and then I also want to know that what product mix my company is offering. Okay, product mix, revenue stream. So a company can have multiple revenue stream. A company can, let's say, sell a product as well as provide a service, sell a product as well as lease some land or properties, sell a product as well as, or say it sells multiple product. It has multiple product lines, and each has it. Each are acting as different cost centers. Okay, so everyone's profitability profits are calculated and taken as separately. So you have to keep all these things in mind. Okay, you cannot just collab all these things and put it in one place. You have to break it all so that it also becomes clear for you. So let's say if revenue is going down and a company has two or three revenue streams, it is always good to separate out the ailing revenue stream. Okay, so there were, let's say there were there were three revenue streams: revenue 1, revenue 2, revenue 3. And if the problem is only with revenue 3, what is the need for going into revenue 1 and revenue 2? So while asking this question, the whole idea is to make your problem narrower and narrower. So we start from here and we make it narrower and narrower so that we arrive finally at the root cause. Okay, so this is the whole agenda. Our agenda is not to analyze everything inside the company, because it will just open a Pandora box and we'll keep discussing that what has gone wrong, what is gone wrong, but we'll never arrive at the root cause. And if you see here, we have a limited time. Okay, so it is always best to start at a broader level and then keep going one layer deeper. Okay, and try to make it narrow by eliminating those variables or options which are not relevant to your case. Okay, so coming back here, product mix, revenue stream, and then you can ask more questions like, let's say once you know that where in the value chain you lie, you can ask more questions like, something about your suppliers, and how do you procure, or anything related to company. Now again, I would say it is rather difficult here to list out that what all things you would like to know about a company. It is much easier when we take a context of a specific case. Okay, so I'll tell you how. So if I consider, let's say, an auto spares company. Okay, so now I would like to know that where in the auto spares value chain does this company exist? Does this company procure, manufacture, as well as distribute the auto spare parts? So I get to know, no, it it does it does it leaves the procurement part and all to some other entity, which is basically taking care of everything inbound. This specific client of mine is just doing the processing, that is basically working on those parts, manufacturing those parts, converting the raw material into finished goods. And then again, for the distribution part, it is giving all these things to a external distributor. So in a value chain, if you see, where is the cursor? Huh. In a value chain, if you see, inbound, processing, outbound. In a value chain, if you see, my company is lying here. Okay, so just because I was being asked something about the auto spares and I had some context in my mind because I've worked in a similar situation earlier. So while while working on this part, that is basically knowing more about the company, I decided to break this into this value chain and then ask certain questions regarding the company. Okay, let's say somebody gets to know about the pharma client. So there the context is little different. If somebody is being given a case related to a textile client, then merchandising and all will come in picture. Maybe the client will be only in the dealership area, that is the I mean distribution part, and not the raw material procurement or manufacture or anything related to it. So it totally depends where your company exists in the value chain. Okay, and you can ask a myriad of question. Okay, so just ask the questions which you feel is going to be relevant for the case. Okay, and as and when you solve more cases, you will get to know. So we'll also solve some cases. I'll make some video on solving some cases, so that you will also get to know that how do we question, and how do we move, how do we ask relevant questions. So we do not just take all the questions which are mentioned in the framework and bombard the interviewer with it. Rather, how to ask the relevant question and take cue for indirect cues for other questions. Okay, so all question need not be asked. Some question get answered on the way, on itself. Okay, yeah. So in customers, so here you can ask what is the TG. If there are multiple products being targeted to multiple uh, towards multiple TGs, then again, if there are multiple products and they are uh, finally giving you multiple revenue streams, and you have figured out any specific area where the problem is there, then you can keep this whole TG thing relevant to your case only. So you'll ask only the TG related to revenue one, because you've already removed the revenue 2 part out of your analysis. Okay, so here you can also ask all these questions, that why has this problem uh, arisen recently. So is the customer uh, not buying the products only from my company, or is it seen across industry? Okay, and if the customer is buying across the industry, and sorry, if the problem is being faced across the industry, then has the customer priorities changed? Okay, so all these questions will come here, anything related to the customer. Okay, how how price sensitive the customer is, right? Basically in the Indian market, it is always better to ask this price sensitivity part. Okay, whenever let's say it is some you're working for some retail client or a consumer durable client, it is always better to ask price sensitive part, because we as Indians are very price sensitive, at least what I am concluding from what I have seen around me, and it is a fact also. Okay, and yeah, so you can ask some more similar questions for the customer, and then for competitor. So what all questions come to your mind? I mean, think from first principle. If I Whenever I hear a name called competitor, the first question I ask is how many are there? Okay, so let's say I hear two. So I know that apart from me there are two more competitors. So it is kind of consolidated market. Okay, and let's say I hear that there are let's say, yeah, so we'll still keep the number two only, but let's say the interviewer says that there are two significantly big, or there are two major competitors. So here you need not bug the interviewer again, that no, how many number of competitors are there, tell me that. No. So you have got an indication that there are two major competitors you have. So 2 plus 1 including you, and there are other competitors in the market. Okay, now this may be still a consolidated market, or this still may be a fragmented market. Okay, and how to check it? So when you got to know that there are two significant major competitors, the next question you can ask is, what is their market share? Okay, so competitor 1, competitor 2, and your client. So let's say the interview tells you that this market share is 10, it is 10, and you are, let's say, 5 only. So you three combined has 25% of the market share. Now what does it tell you? Only 25% of the market share, and 75% is uh, uh, captured by other competitors, right? Now here again you can ask that 75 is captured by other competitors. Are these I mean, this can again be kind of inconclusive only. If 75 is captured by other competitors, there can be many competitors which has like 3 or 4% of market share. There can be many competitors, or there can be a totally fragmented market where the market share is 1%, 2%, less than 1%, 2%, and it is just there are so many players involved that you can call it fragmented. Okay, so I kind of stretched this part of the discussion because yeah, so it is I mean, it is very intuitive. I do not know how to put this in less number of words, but while discussing this, you will get to know that when there is a fragmented market and when there is a consolidated market. So let's take an example. Mm, okay, so let's consider telecom industry. Okay, how many players are there in the telecom industry right now? It is a 3+1 industry. So there are Airtel is there, Voda plus Idea is there, Jio is there, and then one is a government entity, which is this BSNL. Okay, yeah, guys, BSNL still exists. So Airtel, Vodafone, Jio plus BSNL. So this is a fairly consolidated market. Okay, now let's say I mention a textile industry. Okay, clothing and everything. So how many players do you know, right? So again, I can ask you in I can maybe first segment it price wise and then ask you any which way. So I can list down maybe some players, and then I will say rest of the market is shared across multiple competitors. And if these many significant players are big enough and control more than 50 to 60% of the market, then you can basically say that market is fairly consolidated, and rest of the players are fragmented ones. Okay, and you must be hearing this term in the news that this market is going for consolidation happening there, here. So what it basically means is this: all these big players are trying to increase their market share either at the expense of the existing players and or at the expense of these fragmented players. But all in all, if you consider all these major players, they are as a whole, the market share for all these major players will increase at the expense of these fragmented players. Okay, so this is consolidated and fragmented. I hope it is clear. It is you can read up about this more, but not to fret too much about it. So sometimes it is said that if so many number of significant players have more than 70% of market share, then it is consolidated. And I mean, if it is less than 70 or 60%, then it is not consolidated. It is a fragmented. So those definition can keep on varying. Okay, but trust me, it will never be a deal breaker within an interview. Okay, so uh, whenever in an interview, when such situation will come, you have to assess for yourself that whether it is a consolidated or fragmented market, and then ask the interviewer that is it fair to assume that this is a fairly fragmented market. Okay, fairly fragmented market, it is always, I mean, never hurts to be politically correct. Then interviewer might say, no, why you are asking this is fairly fragmented market? You can consider it as a consolidated market, since 70% of the market share is taken up by 4 to 5 players. So then you consider it as a consolidated market. Okay, but let me assure you that cases will not be such where you will be having this confusion. It will be such that the consolidated or fragmented market will be very clear to you. Okay. So like spectacles we wear, is still a very fragmented market. Lenskart, Coolwings, and many other big players are trying to capture the market share, but it is a fairly fragmented market. Okay. And again, if you see telecom, it has gone under total consolidation. Okay. So yeah, uh, and what all other things you can ask for to get more information about the competitor is, so has there been a new substitute recently? Okay, any new substitute in the market? And when I say substitute, so let's say there was a type of product, and for that that product was aimed at certain target customer or a target group. Okay, and there were four five players, major players, or 4 5 players who were serving to that target group. Okay, now there is a whole new product which does not fit the product specification, or what say product idea which you are providing, but it is fulfilling the need of your existing customers. Okay, so your customer is basically moving to that substitute. It does not require the your product as such. Okay, so that is basically a substitute, and this you can also see read more about this in the uh, Porter's five forces. So I'm pretty sure you must have come across Porter's five forces already, and if not, then do Google up. So it is a very common framework which is which gets discussed on a daily level, believe me. So even while MBA, we used to Porter five forces is everywhere. I mean, whether you are doing a consulting case, business case, program manager case, any case, it is going to come. Porter's five forces. Porter's five forces, Pestle, and then SWOT is the basic one. SWOT. I don't use SWOT very oftenly, because simply because it is very generic. Okay, and it is kind of something which uh, as per me do not give too much insight. It just leaves you at a very broad level. Okay, so SWOT I do not use, but yeah, Porter five forces, Pestle, and then this BCG matrix, then this Ansoff matrix. These all frameworks are there which I oftenly use. So yeah, you can just Google it up. And okay, so to summarize, what did we do today? What did we do today? We saw how a profitability case look like in general. Then we try to first scope the problem whenever we get a profitability case, how to scope the problem, and then we move to the second part where we try to gather as much information as we can about the company. And this gathering of information we did in 3 steps: about the specific company, about the customer they are serving, and about the competitors which from which they are facing competition. Okay, so these 3 points we covered. Okay, now in the next video, I'll what I'll do is I'll start with drawing a profitability framework. So I'll extend this, and then we'll see what are the major blocks, and how to drill down those blocks. Okay, so I'll stop here and meet you again. Bye.